What's up everyone, it's Eric here, coming to you with another tutorial video, this time about thumbnails. The last one I did was on the main game tutorial channel, which you can check out over there. It was about how to upload and optimize your YouTube videos. So this video was actually requested by a subscriber, and that's why I'm doing it, and it's going to be mostly about my process on how I like to do thumbnails, rather than the technical thing and like a walkthrough or like a step-by-step kind of thing. It's just going to be what I like to do and what I look for. So I'm not a Photoshop pro, I don't really know a lot of the advanced settings and things of that nature, but I like to think that my thumbnails are pretty decent. I like the way they look anyways, so that's why I'm going to show you how I do it. So if we're looking right here at this one, this is for a recent video that I just did. It's called an agent video. Basically, what I do is I play the video and I look for a screenshot, right? I look for a moment in the video that looks cool or looks like it could be thumbnail worthy. And the way that I tell that is if there's like something like this, something interesting on the screen, specifically if there's a person who's close to the camera or sort of, you know, expressing emotion in such a way. Like this guy right here, he's taking up the right side of the screen, and there was a lot of space for me to put text here and here, and my border is always really going to always fit on the screen, so it's not really something that I'm looking for, but it's more about the space to the right of him or alternatively to the left. So my process is you can make these borders on your own. I like having one of these on each of my videos just because it makes, when it appears in the sub inbox of viewers, it just says, oh hey, that's Eric's video, he's got that orange border, and I recognize that as his thing. So what I do is I have like these original layers here, I duplicate these and I bring them down here, and then you can see, if I could just get rid of this background, you can see I erased a portion of the layer, so this way it looks like he's on top of the bar. So that way it provides some depth. It looks like he's popping out of the image, right? Because he's in front of this border, even though he's still just part of this picture in the background. So the way that I do that, just as a quick, how-to, I sort of reduce the opacity here, just so I can see behind the border, and then I erase whatever border is on top of him. And I do that with the clear thin border as well, just to sort of line it up. You can make your own borders. I'm not really going to show you guys how to do that, other than, it's pretty simple. You just basically go make a square, right click, and then stroke however you want, and then you use the blending options. Let's just see. Oh no, I didn't use actually blending options. I used just a gradient, so it would be here, and then I used a gradient there to just fill it into a nice sort of color like that. The only other thing I would want to really show you guys is the sort of the text. And an important thing to note is that you can always right click, so you can see here I've got a bunch of effects applied to this layer. Right click blending options, it allows you to, I've got some pre-made styles here, but you can make these styles in here and you can just save it, like here, new style, and you can save it into there, and then you can have these pre-made all the time. So this one here is Diablo 3. I made this for Diablo 3 and it looks really nice here. It works well with this font that I picked for The Division. And what you want to do with your text is sort of overlap it as well over the border so that the text also looks like it's popping out of the screen. This one didn't really do that because there was just this really nice open space for it to really clearly be displayed. It looks a little pixelated there, but again, you have to keep in mind that when people are viewing your thumbnails, it's going to be really small. So if you look here, you can see that it's kind of pixelated. If we go into the logo layer, yeah, you can see I put a stroke effect onto it. A 1 pixel wide white stroke, that's what this pixelated sort of white is. But the thing is, it looks really bad up close when I zoom in, but no one's going to be looking at it like that. They're going to be looking at it sort of this size, or maybe even like this size, and you can still kind of tell now that we know that we're looking for it, but if someone's passing by, they're not going to notice that. And what the stroke is there for is only to make sure that the division is visible against this sort of lighter or in some cases darker backdrop, and then in the letters pop and it's clearly visible. So yeah, you just have to work on your placement of where you want to put these types of things. I'm not really going to go into that. I'm just going to show you guys a couple other examples that I've sort of highlighted here. So here's a Torchlight 2 video. You can see, again, I've erased, if we go to, hold on, let's just quickly jump in here. If I delete this or get rid of this border, you can see how much I've done here with erasing and making sure that it looks like these characters are on top of the board. They're popping out at you. Alternatively, you can get just whole images themselves. You can see how these images are PNG images, so they're already erased, the background's already erased, and they can just be moved on top of the borders, like you can see here. I can just move it directly on top of the border so it looks like it's popping out, and you'll see that a little later on in the tutorial. But just in terms of thumbnail progression, my first episode for this one wasn't a golden portal. There was no golden portal here, and I think actually this might have been in the middle, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was they were all uniformly up in the top right. I couldn't really say. But this would be episode 1, right? Torchlight 2, we did it. You know, we're here. I can't remember what the title name is. And then for the second one, we encountered a golden portal. So what did I do? I adjusted the thumbnail just slightly and added in this golden portal in the middle. So that's just sort of an example there of transitioning your thumbnails to suit the specific episode and what it can entail. So if we go to another image here, yeah, you can see there's a nice scene happening in the background here, but this character is popping out. It's popping out at the viewer, and they can see that, oh, I'm with this guy and we're looking into this scene, and it's E3 2015 multiplayer. Let's keep going. Same sort of thing happening here, going rogue, different coloring with the text. I actually kind of like that red better. Maybe I should be going with this red, but I think that was because it was going rogue, and that's what happens. Yeah, you can see you will go rogue. It's all red, so that's why I did that. Let's get out of the division and quickly jump into speedrunners. Neil deGrasse Tyson is here, and he's like, whoa, we got a badass over here. So in this image, it's kind of good because, hold on, let me just get rid of Neil deGrasse. So there's a big blank space here, right? So each episode that passes by, right? So if I want to go to episode 4, and then I want to say, oh, we got a badass over here, and then I add Neil deGrasse Tyson, or, you know, Yoda's here. Right? This area is basically to be transitioned every episode into a new image that's relevant to the video title. So that's another way you can keep in mind if you're doing videos in a series. That's something we didn't see in the Division videos, if we go back here, because this is a trailer, right? It's not a playthrough, there isn't multiple episodes, it's just a trailer. I don't need to transition every episode. So transitioning, this one's a little less busy, less things going on, very simple. Let's just jump in here, look at how many layers. Yeah, 2 border layers, the clear thin border and the main border, and then the background, which is basically just this green, and a card back and the druid. That's it. And these images are actually PNGs, so like I was saying earlier, I don't have to do any sort of whoops, I just moved the background. I don't have to do any sort of cutting with the border, so you can see how this one is completely intact. I didn't have to erase to make something look like it was on top. I literally just put these images directly on top. You can see I didn't leave them default as well. I added a bevel and emboss and a drop shadow. You can see sort of what they would look like if I didn't add that. It still kind of looks okay because this one has sort of lighting effects applied to it already. But it just adds to the blending of the image, basically. Right click blending options. I mean, it literally says it in the name. These are options to allow you to blend the image, and now it looks like these shadows are on the background image, right? So it's all a part of this image, and it looks cohesive. Just another quick example here of how you can quickly make it look like things are on top of each other. So this sign, Risks Ahead, it looks like it's behind the Forced logo here, but in reality, if I get rid of all these things, Forced is part of this background image, right? It's not on top of, it's a lie, it's an illusion basically. So what I did for that was I basically just Control-C this image. Oh, let's make sure we're selecting layer, Control-C, Control-V, and then you get this, right? And then you have to use your eraser tool or your wand, however you want to do it, and sort of just get rid of this background stuff here and make sure that just the letters are coming through, right? And then you'll end up with something that looks like this. And then if you put the sign back there, it looks like the letters are on top of it. So I add the background image in there, and look, it looks like the sign is just right in the back. It's all part of the image, it's seamless, and it's easy to do. Alternatively, you can also just add things just directly on top of these images rather than trying to hide them in the background. So you can see here there's water droplets on here, jellyfish directly on top. people are still going to be able to like watch. If I just zoom out, they're still going to understand that this is forced, right? Especially if this is episode 7 or 6 or whatever, and they've seen this thumbnail before. They know it's forced. They know that this word is forced, even though the C is covered. It should still be okay. You can get away with that sort of thing. Another example here, I think, was this one. Yeah, so just right across the O, it's fine. This is the episode where we were running away from the blood mist. So I just, threw these images together like this. Let's move on to the next example and the last example, which is Dragon Age Inquisition. And I really like this one because it looks like it's very, sort of movement oriented. This dragon definitely looks like he's popping out of the screen. He wants to come and eat your lunch, basically. And you've got these guys who are also over the top of the border, and they're trying to defend, and you're kind of in the mindset of these characters defending against the dragon, right? So that about wraps it up for this video, guys. If you want to know more, just leave a like, leave a comment below, and maybe I'll make some more follow-up videos. Just some quick reminders before I go is that you want to constantly zoom out just so you can see what the text looks like and if it's visible to the viewer when it goes small on YouTube. And other than that, just sort of mess around with your placement of things and make sure it looks good to you. If it looks good to you, it's probably good. Play with the depth, and that's all I can say about that. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. What's up, everyone? It's Eric here with a video on how to upload, schedule, and optimize your YouTube videos. Now, this was originally going to be intended for the other Game Tutorial guys, just to show them how I like to do it and how I want them to do it. But I figured, hey, let's share the love, share the knowledge, make it public for everyone else. So obviously, first things first, jump right into it, hit upload, you get here, select your